So
Good.
if everybody's willing to say hello in the chat, say where you're from, say something good. Uh, and all right. So I guess the big question that I would look at here is, why are we doing this talk? Um, I don't think there's any question that AI is part of it, and we hope that AI is going to be an effective part of your future. When you use AI right, things go better, faster, easier, and things like that. But when you use AI wrong, you go the wrong direction even faster. And one of the things we've seen is if you don't use smart use of AI, things don't very well. And we spent a lot of time building some tools, which we're going to share with you in the conversation today. Frank.
There's a bit of background noise here. Let me deal with that here. Okay, very good. So should we introduce ourselves, Bryan?
Introduce yourself. So I thought I wasn't there yet. So who am I? I'm Bryan Cassady. Bryan spelled right. Entrepreneur from 11 different companies, 6 different countries. I have 8 exits along the way. A while ago, I was asked to be a teacher, and I said, "Who wants to be a teacher?" And it actually turns out I want to be a teacher. I've teach at some leading schools, London Business School, EdHec, Stanford, Berkeley, and things like that. But recently, I moved on a mission from teaching what I'll call the fortunate few to the motivated many. And my target is to teach 1 million innovators by 2027. I had about 15,000 this year, which means I have 65 more years to go, unless I do something different. And the thing that I'm doing different is I'm putting AI into everything I'm doing. And we have AI in our courses. We have AI in a new book, which is coming out. We have AI sprints, and we have AI tools, and we have AI this and AI that. And by the way, if you stay till the end, you can get a free copy of my book.
Very good. Very good. So, and me, hello everyone. I'm Frank Debain. I'm based in Paris, and so I've been myself started as an engineer and moved slowly to entrepreneurs and building different companies. And me, I've been also a lot involved in training and the next generation of innovators and conveying the methods of entrepreneurship to different entities, first-time entrepreneurs, but as well big companies that want to innovate faster. So I've built the Lean Startup community in Paris as well, and we host the Lead Innovation Day actually on May 7th this year. For those who are around, you're welcome. And I've also invested in a few startups myself. And with the rise of AI for the past 2 years, we looked at generative AI and say, okay, how can this help into the innovation and how can we build tools around that? And that's what we're going to talk about. Also, I wrote a book which is only available in French, which is going into startup modes about the 6 steps to start a business. With that, I wanted to briefly cover the topics that we'd like to discuss today and where we want. So, first, identifying some of the issues with innovation, then look at what we're doing about it and the tools and the approach that we're taking, and then how you can benefit from the work that we did and how you can use some of the things that we built if you find them interesting. Working with innovation director in corporate environments, I've looked at what they do, and so Alex Spark, typical innovation director, has a lot of different missions and things that he needs to do. He needs to identify emerging trends and technology that's requested from him to be able to bring in new tech and new possibility, new opportunities inside the company. He needs to encourage a culture of innovations, more entrepreneurship and risk-taking in some way. He needs to find new ideas to improve current operations. So how can we do the same thing more efficiently and with less money, probably? And he needs also to evaluate and find new business ideas and look for new opportunities and growth potential, right? Now, when you look at this, so the point 3 is what we call incremental innovation, and maybe the point 4 would be breakthrough innovation, right? New product, new services, and just current operational improvements. Now, Alex has a lot of problems on top of that. And here, too many ideas, market validation, and so on. I'm just not going to read them all here, but there's a lot of things that he needs to face to be able to achieve his mission. And so we're going to focus on those 5 here, which is too many ideas, market validation, resource allocation, alignment with company strategy, and identifying the right problem to solve. And when you look at those issues here that Alex is facing, there's a few solutions. So too many ideas, right? Not enough filtering. Market validation. So how do I make sure an opportunity is right? Resource allocation. They ask me to do so much, but without money and no support. I need to identify the right problems to be able to solve them and not some, I think it's called a straw man, right? With the unimportant problems. And everything that I do needs to be aligned with the company's strategy, right? So it's a bit overwhelming. And in terms of solution, then he has some innovation management platform, acceleration programs, open innovation, say call for ideas programs, hackathon, and consulting. And so he relies on those different elements to be able to address those solutions. Now, all of those, they have their own issues, and they're not perfect. They do some of the job more or less well at different cost. And we think what we're building now is something that address those issues in a better way, for much cheaper, and the AI helps a lot in that context. So, and that's where the AI comes in. And it changed, as you know, it changed the possibilities of what we can do. And so what does it mean in the field of innovation, right? So when we started looking at this, we said, okay, the role of AI can help the innovator in 4 different ways. First, it can be a coach where you can ask the innovator questions to be able to refine an idea or to make sure that is going on the right track, basically. You can evaluate an idea. So you throw your idea to the AI, and the AI will give you feedback and tell you if it's good or not. It can produce things. So we're talking about here images, text, that can translate into value proposition, prototype, pitch, interview scripts, and things like that. And you can also use it to throw all your data around your idea, either about the feasibility, the customer research that you have and all that, and we'll take that and synthesize that and look for trends and patterns, right? So now you have all those functions that are clearly identified of what the AI can do. And if you look at, let's say, a classical innovation process, where you start from a challenge, you look for solutions, you take decisions, you prototype, test, share, internally, and so on. Obviously, this is inspired from the design thinking, but there's a lot of variations of that. The key activities, and then we've identified, okay, what does the AI helps? How does the AI help at each step of the way here, looking at those roles? And so looking at this entire chain here, we say, okay, we're going to start prototyping some of the use case here, and that's what we're going to show you today. So why AI tools for innovation? Basically, what we found, it allows you to innovate better, faster, and easier, and remove some of the risk. And a lot of the applications here that you can see on the right are the things that we tested and prototyped, and that you will see in our tools today. So Bryan have been working on this, and we've exchanged some information, and we have built 2 toolkits that we're merging together. So one, AI for innovation. Bryan, do you want to present this one real quick?
Sure, but let me ask you a question first, Frank, because what do you think we do different in terms of AI than what most of the people are doing here?
I think that we have an integrated approach. So first, we're testing a lot. I think we're obsessed with AI. We're testing a lot, and also we have an integrated approach where we try to go from one end to the other within the process, not just a set of tools that are disconnected, I would say. What would you say, Bryan?
I think it's about structuring things. I mean, I think actually what everybody's doing is you're using AI, but you sort of use it ad hoc. You don't remember the prompt that you put on some paper that worked really well. And we're just making it repeatable and structurable.
Mm.
Um, Let me tell you what we've got. We've got a toolkit which was originally built to support education, training, and workshops. It's 259 tools and 6 apps and 25 GPTs for specific innovation challenges. I don't think I can click on your screen, so let me see if I can go here. Most of this stuff comes out of my book Cycles. And Cycles is sort of a take on your typical innovation sprint, where you start out with alignment, building ideas, and so on and so forth. The tools that we have, I don't know if you moved that forward or I moved it forward. There we go. Boy, this is an ugly screen when I shot when I but it's ugly, but it's beautiful in terms of the stuff that's inside it. So what we saw is a lot of people said they really liked the book Cycles, but they said, you know what, it's kind of hard. And, could you make things a bit easier for us? And so what we've done is we went through and designed tools at each stage of the process to help move companies forward in the process. So basically the process that we're looking at is alignment, figuring out what you want to do. That's the most important part of innovation, in my opinion, and the thing that people get wrong most often. Building ideas, which is what people get excited about with AI, but actually is the easiest thing to do. Communicate and check, which is about refining and building things and systematically improving. And we have all of this in a system that works together in one toolkit. And let's see if it works. I can't. So what we've done is we've put this stuff into a typical design sprint. And at each stage in the design sprint, we're adding things along from an AI perspective. The complaint that people have about the design sprints, it doesn't matter if you do it over 2 weeks, you do it over 1 week, people complain it's too long. We typically were doing things over 5 days. And what we've done is through this process of making things come together, we've taken a 5-day design sprint and turned it into essentially a 2-day design sprint. What we've done is we've put the AI up in front in terms of market analysis to make sure you're defining the right problems. And then we put the typical stuff that you've done in 5 days and squished it down to 2. And that's good for 2 things. One is it fits about the time that companies are willing to do. Second is we're able to add in a bit, and this one I'm borrowing from the other Bryan, which is soak time, which is actually getting away from it from a bit, and then we come back and make some decisions. What we're seeing here is dramatically different results in about half the time. And the best estimate we come up with is about twice as many actionable ideas in the time available. Now, yeah. I can't move your screen forward, Frank.
Let me do it. Here you go.
As Charles was talking about, we've got a new book coming out, Cycles 2.0, February 2025. That's looking tough right now, but it'll be out. You're in the list. I'll send you a link. You can. We have early evaluator copies. If you want to give it a review, I'll come out with you. But basically, 25 chapters, all explaining how to use AI more effectively, and also workshops with AI for each chapter along the way. Click it forward. For those of you who want to try out the tools, we have a free online version of our toolkit. The link here doesn't roll off the tip of your tongue, so you probably have to do a screenshot if you want to do it. But you can get started. You download a guide. We have a whole bunch of long prompt chains and pitch making. You got to check it out. It's really amazing stuff.
I think you and I both.
Yeah, so let me introduce you to the tool that the other tool is called Audace.ai. And here we're taking the approach of from innovating within the company. And what we've built basically it allows anyone to move from an idea to a project, meaning there's a structured way. Find internal alignment as well. Bryan mentioned this. It's one of the most important thing. And so finding which problems and topics you want to work on, evaluate the best projects. Oops, evaluate the best projects. So which one should
Have the
be
resonators
worth
and the tax on it.
investment? Okay, let me mute those people here. And manage your innovation pipeline, basically, where you can see all your ideas into one place because they were built in the platform. Just to go back on the idea management software, if you guys are familiar with this, basically an idea management software will be a place where somebody that has an idea go in and put an idea, and then people can comment on it, vote on it, and it evolves to a defined process. But there's not a lot of value except the collaboration aspect within the idea management software. Here now, if you plug artificial intelligence in it, then the artificial intelligence can look at your idea and provide a lot of value in terms of feedback, coaching, evaluation, production of materials and all that because it has the knowledge around the idea. And so it makes a good reason for the idea owner to go use that service instead of just a reporting tool that is used by some of the companies. That's one of the main difference that we are bringing to the table as well.
Frank, can I add something?
Go ahead.
I think there's a big issue with idea management software in general. It's typically there's no ideas in the idea management software. And what we do with AI is we throw ideas in, and it's easier for people to start with existing ideas and build on top of them. And that's one of the big differences when you throw AI into the mix. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so this is just some screenshots, but we'll do the demo later. So what we have is
okay, so we've got something go better, faster, and easier. Accelerated innovation, like faster cycles. I have to throw in cycles because that's the name of my book. Let me see if I can move the slides forward. So I'm gonna, no, I can't. You have to move them forward for me.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see.
You should be able to.
Okay, so let's see if it works. So what we have is we see an innovation process going from preparation for what you're going to do together, aligning on your strategic objectives, building ideas, communicate, check, systematically improve, soak, and present. What we have is we built a system which is actually really strong at the front end and really strong at the back end. And the reason I'm working with Frank is he built a system that's really strong in the middle end. So what we have together is a perfect fit of things coming together. And what I want to do is show you the stuff we have. So you're going to have to click. So we're going to put it in practice. God, I'm so dodgy. I don't know if anyone knows that term. It's sweet memories right now. I'm thinking of Brazil where I've been. We did a practice run for the Brazil ready to drink alcohol market. And I'll show you some of the tools we have in that practice. So the challenge we were looking at is we looked at, could we build a new idea for a new ready-to-drink alcoholic beverage for the Brazilian market? And we wanted to show you what happens going through the full process. And what we have as a process is a part which is the ABCs of innovation and a part which is outside of that. So the prep phase, for me, this is probably the most important thing. If you're doing an innovation activity, it's the stuff you do before you get together. And a good rule of thumb for me in the past is I used to spend a day for every hour with the client. Now I spend about an hour for every hour with the client. And what we try to do is we go through first with a market assessment and a clarification of objectives. We use some external tools, let's say like Perplexity and things like that. Asking a bunch of questions. We define what we want to do as far as an objective, and we put it all together. And I think this is brilliant. We take an existing system, which is OpenAI's GPTs, and we throw in that basically the objectives, market information, and define some personas to run for a sprint. And it becomes like this really clever intern who knows everything but knows nothing, who is available to help you through the whole sprint process. Next, we have the alignment phase. As I said, this for me is the most important part. When we take our work with clients, we start out typically with an alignment demo, which is people say, what did we learn through the prep prep phase. And then we go one step further and we look at defining what is our specific innovation objective. There's lots of ways to do this. The way that we put together something called True North, which is basically a story, an objective, and what you don't want to make sure that people know where you want to go. There's lots of tools to do that. This is the part which people get excited about. So I talk about a little bit more than the other parts.
Hey Brian, can I stop you for a second? Also on the True North, I want to comment something is that it's very important because then it sets the frame to go for an ideation, and it has the objective, the constraints all in consideration, and at this point it gives some autonomy for teams to be able to explore different solutions. And so you're talking about alignment, but once you have this one, you have maybe 50% of the work done already.
The bottom line is if you ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer. So if you don't spend time defining your innovation objective, you're not going to get what you need. People get really excited about what AI can do in terms of ideation. We've got on our toolkit a whole bunch of tools. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. You select a method, you fill in your True North, and you click on the button on the bottom, which is number 3. And what comes out of that is, let's see, will be tons and tons and tons and tons of ideas. For a typical innovation objective, if you run the tools that we have there, you'll get between 1,200 and 1,500 ideas. You might say, well, that's easy, but are the ideas any good? And the answer, which I'm going to go to quickly, is the average quality of the idea, which is in the middle of this chart, is actually, we compare human ideas versus humans with AI. They're about the same. The second column, which is here called cosine similarity, which is the degree to which the ideas are different. Human beings are better than AI. They get more diverse ideas. But where things come really interesting is when you look at the number of top quality ideas. And if you want to take a screenshot of justifying the use of AI in your innovation process, this is something you should take a screenshot of. What we did is we ranked ideas, so the top 5% of ideas, and said how many came from the different sources and the different methods. For humans, they hit about 1 in 100. If you look at the best AI model, which is TRIZ, they're hitting 8 out of 100. This isn't the number of ideas, it's their frequency. It's the on base hitting average. So what we're seeing is AI can not only make more ideas, but it makes substantially better ideas. Let's see if it clicks. Does this make sense to people? One of the challenges you have is if you have all of these ideas, how do you evaluate 1,200 ideas? Well, very carefully. But what we do here is effectively we take the AI into the process and make shortlists. If you use our AI toolkit, it generates 150 ideas that you can evaluate manually. And you could take, for example, that and do it a little bit more, coming down to a better idea. In a Brazilian situation here, we came up with one idea, and that one idea we take through the rest of the innovation process. And it was called Carnival Celebration Series. It's celebrating the wonderful mystery of Carnival in Brazil with special drink tastes designed to experience the Carnival flavors throughout the whole year. Now, this was one of many, many ideas. We take that idea, and now we have a process of trying to communicate it. This is typically day 2 of a sprint. We have people present their best ideas. We make sure that they like them. We look at ways that we can make the ideas better. We do a paper prototype of it. We look at names for the product. This one is really cool. Make up selling lines. We can make 2,000 selling lines for your product in a few minutes. We make up a first description the idea. You see synthetic.
Like this, but different for it. Right.
Once we have that, we can do some. One of the things that was really strange for me is thinking, actually, could you ever do synthetic user testing? Would it ever be any good? And actually, the research right now shows that it's actually more reliable and more accurate than a lot of things that we're doing in terms of typical user testing. We do some synthetic user feedback, looking at different personas that we want to test with. We get that data back. And this is all being done sort of real time. It's going quickly. I can't click again, Frank. Here we go. We get feedback, get ideas for improve. We go through this and we actually end up at the end of this process where we've checked the ideas, but we actually find ways to improve it and make them better. And lastly, we're at about systematically improving. What we have here is we have a series of tools in place to evaluate project risks. We start out with, we like the idea, but we want to know what the risks are. The AI pops out a bunch of risks. We want to get groups working together. Tell me how we can do this in groups, who should be in which groups and who should do what. And that goes fast. We're done at the end of 2 days, but Audace does it even better. You're on mute, Frank.
Here you go. All right. Even better, I'm not sure, but the approach is so obviously innovation process looks very much alike. This one, the approach that we're taking, and what I'll do is I'll do a demo actually. So we take from the idea, right? We define a challenge and an idea, and I have to admit the people as well in this one. Okay, so here. In the tool, we replicate the challenge that was proposed and we attribute it to a fake company, a French company that does drinks. But you can see the challenge here, and you can see some market research and pre-elements before you get an idea, right? And we'll go to the process as in, okay, we understand the challenge, we have an idea, and I think I'll need just to go quickly here to pick up the idea that I dropped. In the slide somewhere. This one, here you go. So just to get quicker, I'm going to go here. So now I'm in the process to have an idea, right, to solve the challenge. And here the AI is acting as a coach and asking me questions. So I dump everything that I know about the idea that I have in mind and get the error, the demo effect, but it should work. So and what it's doing now, it's looking at the idea I provided and is seeing, asking a few key questions. Who is the customer? What problem is it solving? How does the solution work? And how does this idea solve the challenge, right? So linking back to a specific. So in the chat, I'm not sure if it's going to work, but in the chat, there's the back and forth conversation, initial conversations, where you come to a point where you are actually able to save your idea. And once you save your idea, you can go directly in. Okay.
So
it's like this one.
While you're catching this, let me add something in. With AI ability to generate more ideas, the ideation part isn't that important. You can get good ideas quite quickly. What's really important in the innovation process is your ability to take ideas and improve them over time. And what you need is human interaction, humans working with AI to do that. And that's what the system Frank has built does really well. So we take ideas in, we test them, we validate them, and bring it forward. Try it again and see if it's working again, Frank.
Yeah, so that was just the chat part. I think is not that important because it's just a tailor way instead of throwing a Canva, which can be overwhelming sometimes. You just ask questions and you have a conversation with the AI to help you find the key elements of that Canva. And here now you have it as a result. The target audience are young adults in Brazil, lack of convenient pre-nightclub drinks, ready to drink vodka, guarana, and so on, right? So it's defined here. And what you can see now is desirability, feasibility, viability. For you that know about innovation, you recognize clearly the design thinking. And so for each steps, you're going to have the ability now to dig into the desirability of your idea. So you have a quick summary here. Who is the customer, the early adopters, the problem you're solving, and the existing solutions to that problem. Some of the key assumptions that needs to be, let's say, researched to be able to have some answer. So let's look at this one. Will a young adult in Brazil find vodka unappealing, which is a fair question, right? So maybe you've done some market research here. So you click on provide evidence and upload your market research, or you can look at here, and here will provide you the different type of experiments that you can do to actually get the data behind this. So it's proposing two type of experiment, a discovery experiment and a validation experiment. And so conduct online surveys or introduce a limited batch, which is a way to test demand directly with a kind of MVP in this context. Right. So you have this, and because you work in a company, and remember we talk about internal alignment, you can get some feedback of key actors in the company. So Mark E. Ting, which is a marketing director, for instance, and then you look at this guy and consult what he has to say or what question does he have about your idea before he can go any further, right? So that's on the desirability side. Then you move on the feasibility, and you have the same type of summary here with again the key questions that you need to answer, and feedback from some relevant person, operation director, R&D director, and legal director that will look at your idea and say, this is where it's not so great, or what questions needs to be answered. And on the viability side, so we're talking about revenue, but as well as alignment between the idea and the challenge, and again some key questions and some person to talk to. And here you can look at also an estimate of the serviceable obtainable market, meaning what's the revenue potential with some assumptions and a computation here, which allows you then to look at all your ideas in a panel and look at which one seems to be the most promising in terms of revenue. So that's this aspect. You can also get experts of people that are in your field. And so I don't know any of those because I'm not completely familiar with the challenge and the context. But you can see that those, let's say, Alex, Brazilian chef. So you can go in here, and then the AI will basically be an agent taking the form of the thinking of Alex and ask questions or recommendations, provide recommendations on your specific idea. So this is completely created by the AI based on the knowledge that the AI has about Alex. Okay. And then come to the point where you are ready to share your idea, meaning you work on your ideas, you answer most of the questions, and so you can create a pitch deck here, a press release, elevator pitch, storyboard, and so on. And you can go, let's look at the press release here. So to be able to communicate about your idea, introducing vodka marijuana, pre-party essential, a visual, and then some quotes from customers here, but also from people here at Pernod Ricard that announce this new drink and so on. So that's how you go through to the process. Basically, it's guide you to answering the key questions around feasibility, desirability, and viability. And then at the end, you are rewarded with things or the storyboard, things that you can use to share your idea internally and to continue working on it. You have the 90-day experiment plan as well if you go further with your idea. So that's how the tool works. And let's go back here. Up to all the screens of the tool. And so basically, it makes the evaluation of ideas much faster. And so we simplify and accelerate innovation. And what you see is there is AI in the background that helps at every step of the way, but also there's a structure and a process that is embedded into the user interface. And so that's how we bring value to the project owner and to the innovation directors in this context. So we try to make the innovation easier, better, faster with a structured process. And so we're back in the soak time now.
So, I mean, if you think about this, basically what we're doing is we're helping you do the stuff you know you should do. And you don't have the time to do, and you don't have the desire to do, and do it step by step and getting support along the way. And what happens is when you do things systematically and step by step, what you do is you identify risks, you identify problems, you make your ideas bigger and better. At the point that we are here in our alignment process, normally what happens if you do an innovation sprint is you ask people to present ideas next. In fact, what we found is what works really well is to get them away from the sprint from a bit. My grandma used to have this up in her kitchen. So the hurrier I go, the behinder I get. In innovation, it's very true. Sometimes when you go really fast and you don't take time out, you lose the ability to do the things you want to do. What we've done in our system is we've designed ways to do human testing, built around different ways of running testing processes, interview process, and things like that. We've also developed a pitch maker, an incredibly awesome pitch review tool. Seriously, guys, if you don't check this out, you're missing out. It's really cool. And then we have the last stage, which is presenting stuff. But what we've gotten to this point is people have had time to think about it. They've had time to talk with real people in the marketplace, and we're ready for the last stage. And typically what we do on our decision day is we only invite the management in for the second half of the day, or the second half of the morning. So we have the people who are presenting their ideas come in, they present it to other people in the team, and the other people in the team tell them all the reasons those ideas are bad. They get approximately 30 minutes to improve. Management comes in the room and we improve the presentation and we're ready to go. End result of all of this, we get 2 to 3 times more ideas in half the time. And the reason for it is quite simple. You can, as a human being, when you offload some of your work to AI, you can spend more time thinking about strategy, ideas, and how you're going to do it. You don't have the blank sheet issue, which is no ideas in the idea box. We throw lots of ideas in. There's more time for testing and validation, which is the thing that people never do. And we can have better, higher fidelity, prototypes tested quickly, and we end with a strong call to action. Everything better, faster, easier with AI. Now, through this whole process, we started here saying AI can be fantastic, but it can send you off in the wrong direction. Of course it can, and you can generate tons of paper. But what you can see is a good use of AI is bringing AI and humans together, where AI is augmenting humans and it's augmenting our processes that we work together.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you, Bryan. I will add also that AI, it's a trap where you can easily get lost, and it's very good at producing a lot of useless content. And so, as you said at the beginning, asking the right question is the most important thing in this, knowing where to go. So, how can you guys benefit from what we're doing? So, if you are an entrepreneur and you have an idea and that you want to work on, and we want to explore and use those tools. We have embedded into the platforms design thinking and lean startup principles. So with your idea, you're able to get the 90-day experiment plan to create a pitch here. And for that, you can go directly. Sorry, let's go here. You can just sign up to the waiting list on Audace, and we'll give you access, so you can play around with it and see the value that you get. In exchange, we'll ask for feedback for sure. And the AI for Innovation Toolkit is available today. You can just directly go to the website, sign up, and start using it directly. And Bryan would like your feedback as well on this one. Now, if you are a corporate innovators, you've seen what the tool do. So you can evaluate your ideas in a very different way and align your action to strategy. And so, as Bryan was mentioning, you get twice the results, twice as fast, much quicker. And so for this, so what we're doing is that we're opening 2 early adopters teams that we want to co-create with, meaning that basically we'll adapt the solutions to your environment, to your innovation context, to your innovation process, and make sure that that you get the most value out of this. That's how we work with the early adopters on the platform. We have 4 companies that are deploying it at the moment. And so for this, if you're interested to be one of those company that we're taking in the next batch, you can just book a call with us and we'll discuss the details of that. So that brings us to the end of what we wanted to discuss. We love your feedback on what you've seen and on what we presented. Against your feedback, there's a few gifts for you. Once you complete everything, you will have access to Bryan's book. Is that the version 2, Bryan, or still the version 1?
God, I wish the version 2 was done. So it's the version 1 for right now.
So you'll get the link to the AI for Innovation Toolkit, the 7 prompts that you can use directly if you want to play around, an innovation project with ChatGPT or another AI. And then we'll give you also the priority access to Audace.ai if you provide us your feedback. So thank you very much, and then we'll look forward to your questions and your inputs. I see the hand is raising already. Chris Cameron.
Hello, can you hear me well?
You gotcha. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this. And I'm sorry I was late, but fortunately, I bring an IBM background to this and an innovation. I was actually supposed to be the innovation guy on IBM Watson for supply chain, which we did. Worked really well. It just was pre-LLM. So they didn't like $2 million GBS engagements from IBM to implement it. So that's been fixed now with LLMs. But if the thing I was looking at from your standpoint there, Franck, is there specialized training you've done, not at the LLM level, but at a processing level, at an agent level, let's say, that is particular to the challenges of innovation and product development so that the model may respond differently than, let's say, a chat GPT or a generic LLM?
No, we create those agents that have their specificities, and then we use them as such. But there's no training. We just give it the slice of informations that we want them to use, and
Mhm.
leverage that. But we don't add any extra data. I think there's already too much data in the AI, and there's enough for what we need.
Chris,
I-
can I tell you
Mhm.
what we do within this? One is almost all the prompts we have are run as prompt chains. So in fact,
Mhm.
within the session, it's building on the previous replies. So it's fine tuning and refining the ideas. And the second, and I don't know if it was because I think you might have missed it, we build this GPT that goes along with the sprint, and that
Gotcha.
is filled with market data about the client. And you can
Mhm.
add within that GPT for more specific recommendations based on what's failed other places, what's worked other places, and stuff like that.
That's great. I love that approach because as a supply chain guy, I would always get this same thing. And then you get the technical guys going, it's not really good. And it's like the secret to good is in the workflow, not how you trained something, because training is always ongoing as a product of the interaction. But if you get it in the wrong workflow, that no matter how much training you do, it's going to stink. It's just not going to work. So I appreciate your approach. Thank you for walking me through that.
Frederick, you're up, man. Frederick, it looks like you've fallen asleep there. I think. How you
Hi,
doing?
Bryan. Bonjour, Franck.
Bonjour, hello.
If you want, I can stay in the session because I have written many points. So if you want, I can give you a debrief at the end.
Okay. Other questions from people? I mean, let me ask you this. If you put in the chat, do you see the benefit of this? Or are we just building AI tool on top of AI tool and AI tool on top of AI tool, and we're losing our time? personally, when I look with clients right now, we're able to do in days what it used to take us months to do. And the reality is we're not just playing around with AI data, but we're using AI to get the humans to think harder. And when they think harder, they actually catch their own mistakes.
And what I saw here too, Brian, was interesting. The things that kills innovations is not the market research and such like that. It's a tiny little window you have to dodge being killed by the finance bullet or the next big idea that the CEO's like squirrel and went off running. This would get it to, you could take your innovation and prove it very quickly. And I've been using sprints for some time just for that purpose. So now adding it with AI, you can get this thing down fast and actually hit your window to lock in your funding before the next great idea confuses the C-suite.
You know, so what I've seen works really well is every CEO has their pet ideas. And what we can do is in 2 days, we can take his pet idea and show whether it's good or bad. And he really likes the fact that you can get this immediate feedback. And it's not just, oh, we think it's this way, but we actually get the team working around it and thinking strategically about the question.
Cool. And you can compare it to the pet idea of anybody else in the company as well.
So we've got a great thing for you. I'm going to put the link in the chat. We run these things primarily to get feedback. And if there's a feedback form, you can take a picture of the thing on the bottom of the screen. You can go to the chat and there's a feedback link. Basically what we're interested in is, what do you remember from the chat? It's about 3 minutes, by the way. What do you remember? What did you find interesting? What did you not find interesting? Would you like to chat more? Would you like to come together and talk with us? And we're happy to give you a live demo on real data and things that you're doing. So that's in the chat right now. Does anybody have any other questions?
There's some in the chat as well. Does this include assessment for project after they've launched? Charlie is asking this.
Sometimes. Now, the answer to the question there is most innovation is not these brand new product ideas. Most innovation is about improving existing ideas. And actually, that's where the money is in most companies. And yes, this can be used for big new ideas, but it can also be used to take your existing ideas and make them more effective.
Yeah, improving your current existing ones.
You do need your team to focus on building existing ideas, because that's sometimes not the most sexy thing. But I think, it's not always where things are sexy, where there is money and opportunity in an organization.
Yeah, there was another question. Sorry, no, this is a game changer for me. I'm an entrepreneur. I will be reaching out to you. That's Suzanne. Will this be available? Will this video be available after the event? I missed after the presentation. Is asking Charlie.
Jordy, one question most clients are worried about is data privacy about their new projects. How does your tool protect that? To answer, to be honest with you, Jody, not very well in my case, because we're using OpenAI as the backend, and we're only as good as OpenAI is.
And so there's different ways to deploy this at clients, and this is a question that we get from different clients. They want their data to be saved. OpenAI does guarantee the safety of the data, meaning that they don't use the data to train their model via the API and the special subscription that we use. But nevertheless, the companies don't trust that. So they go, usually they have a Copilot / Azure OpenAI that we plug into, which work as well. And some company will have their own private on-premise LLM that we can plug into as well. So that's from the data privacy, and then also the security layer on top of that, on who has access to that and how is it hosted and all that. And so those are concerns that we're dealing with, depending on the confidentiality level of the ideas that are submitted. But we work with EDF that have nuclear knowledge, and they're very concerned about that.
So, actually, I want to make two comments here. One is something that was raised by the other Bryan here. Was talking about different innovation methods, and there's some really cool innovation methods out there which are really hard to learn. There's the one that I think is probably the coolest in the world right now is something called TRIZ, which is about 30, 40 years old. And it used to take you 2 weeks to a month to learn how to do this. What we've done is by using AI, you can actually use tools like TRIZ in an hour. You can use the best of the best tools in the world and use those innovation techniques to move forward quite effectively. And, the thing that comes up is we're only as smart as the tools we use. And here what AI is bringing is they're augmenting all the people that were in your team with more clever tools and ideas to bring things together. And I think that's a really important thing to look at, is how it can accelerate not only the speed at which you're going, but the effectiveness of which you're going. Just to add on to it, you remember at one point in time, I was showing you the quality of the ideas. The secret prompt that won from all the research and testing was the most incredibly simple prompt. We said, look, we're looking for new ideas. Choose the TRIZ 40 inventive principles to deliver all 40 inventive principles and deliver 2 for each of these. And the quality of those ideas were 8 times better than human beings.
That's impressive.
Cool.
Charlie is asking, does it integrate with Microsoft PureView and Power BI?
It probably could. You'd have to figure out how to do it. We just did a client integration about 2 weeks ago where we took our backend, so we know what we're running as far as the AI, and actually set it up so it runs on the internal private systems. So I imagine we can probably figure out a way to do it. So with that note, I'd like to thank everybody. Thanks for joining. I love the questions, and hopefully you'll fill out the feedback form, which gets us opening as far as a dialogue and going forward from here. So thank you very much. And
thank you.